The skies over Arendor were calm once more. The battle against the Krylox fleet had ended, and the planet bore the quiet marks of survival. Forests were scarred in places, rivers carried debris, and cliffs showed signs of the fierce struggle that had taken place. Yet life had endured. The Lamari, who once feared the threat of war, now walked among their homes with a new sense of confidence. Commander Varric stood on a ridge overlooking the main city, Lamara Prime. His team had completed repairs on their temporary bases and continued to monitor the surrounding terrain. Humans, though victorious, treated the planet with care, avoiding unnecessary destruction. They had fought not to conquer, but to protect. Elder Siren approached, her long robes flowing in the gentle wind. "Commander," she said softly, "your people have done what we could not even imagine. You have saved Arendor. But more than that, you have changed us. How can we ever thank you?" Varric shook his head. "We do not fight for thanks," he said calmly. "We fight because it is necessary. Survival is not about gratitude, it is about understanding danger and facing it. You have called for help and we answered. That is all." The Lamari Council gathered in the city's central plaza. Every elder, scholar, and leader had come to witness the humans who had defended their planet. Villagers crowded around, their eyes filled with awe and gratitude. Children pointed at humans moving among the crowd, carrying equipment or inspecting terrain with careful attention, their presence almost serene yet commanding. Nira walked among the humans, curiosity shining in her eyes. "Commander Varric," she asked, "why do you not fight like the Krylox? They wanted to destroy us, yet you protected us without unnecessary harm. How do you decide when to strike?" Varric looked at her, calm and thoughtful. "Strength is not always measured by force alone. Intelligence, observation, adaptation, these are just as powerful. We strike only when necessary, and we use every advantage wisely. That is how survival works. That is how we protect life." The Lamari were silent, absorbing every word. For generations, they had relied on peace, avoidance, and hope. Now they saw a different kind of strength. Strength born of courage, skill, and adaptability. Over the next few days, humans continued to work alongside the Lamari. They helped repair damage from the battle, reinforced weak areas of the cities, and taught simple defensive techniques that even the youngest Lamari could understand. Bridges over rivers were strengthened, emergency shelters were built, and lookout posts were established on cliffs and hills. One evening, as the twin moons of Arendor rose over the horizon, a small ceremony was held in honor of the humans. The Lamari presented gifts, woven fabrics, crystal ornaments, and intricate carvings representing the planet's history. The humans accepted them respectfully, though their true reward was the knowledge that the planet and its people could now endure threats that had once seemed insurmountable. Elder Tavar spoke to the crowd. "We once thought ourselves fragile. We believed the Krylox would destroy us and we had no hope. But these humans, they have shown us what is possible when courage, intelligence, and adaptation come together. We will never forget their deeds, even children were inspired." Nira watched a small group of Lamari attempt climbing a hill they had previously feared. Humans guided them patiently, showing how to use footholds, maintain balance, and observe the environment. By the end of the day, the children reached the summit and looked over the forests and rivers with pride. The Krylox, meanwhile, had retreated to their own space. Their scouts reported heavy losses and unexpected resistance. They had assumed Arendor would be a simple conquest, yet the humans had turned every aspect of the planet into a defensive advantage. Their fleet had been forced to retreat, humiliated by tactics they could not anticipate. Back on Arendor, humans prepared for departure. Their ships, massive and resilient, reflected the soft light of the twin moons. Varric addressed the Lamari one final time. "We cannot stay forever," he said. "Your people have learned what is necessary to survive. You have seen how courage, intelligence, and adaptation can overcome threats. That knowledge is more valuable than any weapon. Protect it, teach it, and never forget. Survival is earned, not given." Siren bowed slightly, a rare gesture of deep respect. "We will honor your teachings, Commander. Your presence has changed the course of our history. Arendor will thrive because of you." Nira stepped forward. "Will you return if we need help again?" She asked, hope in her voice. Varric smiled faintly. "Perhaps. But remember this, true survival does not rely on others. It comes from within. You now have the knowledge and strength to protect your own world. Use it wisely." The Lomari watched as the human fleet lifted off, engines glowing softly, leaving trails of light in the night sky. As the ships disappeared into the distance, a quiet reverence fell over the city. For the first time, they understood that the galaxy contained beings capable of facing the deadliest worlds, and that they, too, could learn to survive, adapt, and thrive. Over the following weeks, the Lomari began to implement what they had learned. Observation posts were built across forests and mountains. Scouts were trained to anticipate threats. Simple defenses were placed along riverbanks and cliffs. The Lomari no longer relied solely on hope. They now relied on knowledge, courage, and strategy. Nera continued to explore with a small group of young Lomari, practicing climbing, observation, and tracking. Each success gave them confidence. They no longer feared the forest as a place of weakness. Instead, it became a place of learning and preparation. Elder Tavar observed the changes with quiet pride. "We were once fragile," he said, "but now our people understand courage. We understand strategy, and most importantly, we understand adaptation. Humans have taught us more than we could have imagined." The Lomari Council began documenting everything they had learned from the humans. They recorded tactics, survival techniques, and strategies for protecting cities. These records would guide future generations and ensure that Arendor would never again face threats unprepared. Nera looked out over the forests, rivers and mountains that stretched endlessly into the horizon. She remembered the first day the humans had arrived, their massive ships appearing in the sky, and the awe and fear that had filled her heart. Now she felt something stronger: hope. "They are gone," she said softly to Siren, "but I feel like a part of them stays with us. Their courage, their knowledge. It is ours now." Siren smiled. "Yes, Nera, they have left a legacy. Arendor will never be the same, and that is a good thing." In orbit, Commander Varric watched Arendor one last time before turning his fleet toward new missions. He reflected on the Lomari, a fragile yet intelligent species who had faced overwhelming danger and survived because of guidance, courage, and the will to learn. "We leave behind more than protection," he said quietly. "We leave understanding. And that is what makes worlds strong." As the human fleet disappeared into the stars, the Lomari celebrated quietly, feeling a mixture of awe, respect, and renewed determination. They had been saved by beings who thrived where others would perish, who faced death with calm calculation, and who taught survival as a way of life. The Krylox would remember Arendor not as a simple conquest, but as a planet defended by extraordinary beings and the legendary DEATHWORLDers who had changed its fate. For the Lomari, the lesson was clear. Hope was powerful, but knowledge, courage, and adaptation were even stronger. The humans had shown them the way, not just to survive, but to thrive. And so Arendor entered a new era. Villages rebuilt stronger than before. Forests and rivers were respected and studied. The Lomari had learned the value of preparation, strategy, and courage. And in the stories passed down for generations, the humans of the DEATHWORLDer fleet were remembered as more than saviors. They were legends, teachers, and the embodiment of survival against all odds. The Lomari looked up at the stars each night, not in fear but with hope and inspiration. Somewhere among those stars, humans thrived, facing challenges that would have crushed others. And somewhere in their hearts, the Lomari knew that any danger could be met with courage, knowledge, and adaptation, just as the humans had shown them. Arendor was safe. Its people were strong, and the legend of the DEATHWORLDers would echo in the planet's history forever. The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly around the human flagship Valor's Dawn. Its silver hull reflected distant starlight, while engines hummed steadily, carrying the vessel through the dark void. Captain Elias Mercer stood on the bridge, eyes scanning the holographic star maps projected in front of him. Space was silent, but that silence was never comforting. Out here, even the smallest signal could mean danger or discovery. "Sir," Lieutenant Cara Devlin's voice cut through the calm. "We're picking up an unusual signal. It's faint, but definitely artificial. Coordinates are outside the mapped sectors." Elias narrowed his eyes. "Artificial, you say? Let's get a closer look. Bring it up on the main display." The bridge screens flickered, showing a small, pulsing light far in the uncharted system. The signal was irregular, almost pleading. Unlike the coded military transmissions humans were used to, this one was simple, repeating a pattern that suggested intelligence but no aggression. "Could be a distress signal," Kara said, her fingers flying over the controls. "No known fleet is broadcasting here. It could be a stranded ship, or a colony in trouble. Elias leaned back, thinking. Humanity had faced many dangers in the galaxy, but most were from hostile species or natural disasters. Yet out here there were countless unknown civilizations. Most had never contacted humans before, and some might not have wanted contact at all. Set course, he finally said, voice firm. Slow approach. I want scanners running continuously. I don't want any surprises. The crew obeyed, and the massive fleet began to shift its course. Valor's Dawn was not alone. Several other ships accompanied it. Each vessel was a marvel of human engineering, armed, shielded, and capable of faster-than-light travel. Humans had spent decades exploring the stars, learning, surviving, and sometimes fighting. But today, the mission was observation and response, humanity answering a call for help. Far below on the alien world, a species called the Xylar moved with urgent precision. Their city was a network of translucent towers, glowing faintly under the light of their twin suns. The Xylar were a peaceful species, unaccustomed to war, but nature had forced them to call for help. A massive asteroid, larger than any building on their planet, was hurtling toward their world. The Xylar's technology was advanced for daily life, but insufficient to divert such a massive object. They had sent a distress signal to a nearby civilization hoping for aid. What's happening? A Xylar leader asked. Their voice was melodic, filled with worry. They were supposed to come, but who are these giants? Indeed, through their planetary telescopes, the Xylar could see the approaching human fleet. Massive silver ships blocked the horizon, their engines glowing like distant stars. To the Xylar, these vessels looked more like weapons than help. Panic spread among their people. On Valor's Dawn, the humans ran countless simulations. Sensors scanned the planet's surface. Initial readings indicated life forms in cities, structures that defied conventional architecture, and energy readings that were not threatening. Yet the humans moved carefully. Captain, Kara said, surface readings suggest intelligent life. No major military structures. Energy signatures are consistent with a peaceful civilization, but we can't be sure how they'll react. Elias nodded. We don't want to start a fight before we even say hello. Prepare the shuttle. I want a small team to attempt direct contact. Keep it non-threatening. No weapons unless necessary. Meanwhile, on the Xylar side, chaos reigned. Citizens ran through glowing streets trying to secure their families. Children clung to parents, confused by the enormous objects hovering overhead. The Xylar leaders debated their options. Some wanted to hide, some to fire defensive weapons, and some hoped that whoever had answered their call might help them survive. Back on the human shuttle, Lieutenant Devlin, Ensign Rico Tanaka, and a small team descended through the planet's atmosphere. The shuttle shook as it entered turbulent layers, but human technology held steady. Below them, the Xylar watched with wide eyes. The shuttle's landing was gentle, almost graceful, unlike the sudden intrusions humans sometimes faced from hostile fleets. Still, fear remained. These were not the allies the Xylar had expected. Kara activated the universal translator and spoke slowly. We come in peace. We received your distress signal. We wish to help. The Xylar exchanged nervous glances. The concept of help was familiar, but they had never seen beings so massive and powerful. One leader stepped forward cautiously. Who are you? We did not call for this. Our message was meant for others. Elias, speaking through Kara, smiled reassuringly. Humans answer calls for help, even from unknown worlds. We don't seek conflict. Tell us what danger threatens you, and we will do what we can. A hush fell over the Xylar assembly. Slowly, the leader explained the situation. The approaching asteroid, the limits of their technology, and the hope that someone, anyone, might come to save them. Kara relayed the information to the fleet above. Captain, the planet is in imminent danger. The Xylar don't have the means to stop this asteroid. They need help, fast. Elias clenched his jaw. Understood. Begin immediate preparations. Alert all ships to be ready for planetary operations. If anyone can solve this, humanity can. Back on the planet, Xylar citizens observed the humans with a mixture of awe and fear. Their technology was unlike anything the Xylar had ever imagined. Ships that moved with astonishing speed, tools that could manipulate energy in ways their scientists had only dreamed of. Yet what impressed them most was the determination on the humans' faces. visible even through the shuttle's protective visor. In the hours that followed, the humans worked quickly. Scanners mapped the asteroid's trajectory. Calculations were shared with the Xylar, who provided insight into the planet's magnetic fields, atmospheric density, and geological features. Humans and Xylar, though separated by species, began forming an understanding, a partnership forged in necessity. Elias watched the shuttle feed data to the fleet. "Prepare deflection protocols," he ordered. "We'll need every ship's power. This isn't a small rock, it's a planet-threatening object. But we don't give up. We can solve this." The Xylar leader, seeing the humans' resolve, felt a spark of hope. Perhaps these giants truly wish to help. Our people. We may survive. As night fell on the Xylar world, twin moons casting silver light over glowing towers, the asteroid loomed ever closer. On the human fleet, engines glowed, energy surged, and crews readied themselves for the task ahead. No one spoke of fear, only of duty. Humanity had come across the stars, answering a cry for help from a world that never expected them. Elias stood on the bridge, staring at the distant threat. "We don't leave anyone behind," he said quietly, more to himself than anyone else. "Not today, not ever. Let's save this world." And in that moment, in the silence of space, a bond was formed, between humans and Xylar, between courage and hope. The signal that had reached the stars had not summoned an army of mercenaries or a fleet of conquerors. It had summoned humanity, brave, clever, and unyielding. Above, the asteroid grew larger in the scanners, its shadow creeping across the planet's surface. The first part of the mission had succeeded. Contact had been made. But the real challenge was only beginning. Humans were about to show why they were a species capable of rising to any challenge, even those that seemed impossible. And somewhere deep inside the Valor's dawn, Captain Elias Mercer smiled. Humanity had answered the call. The stars would remember this day. The surface of the Xylar world shimmered under the light of its twin suns, casting long shadows between the translucent towers. The human shuttle hovered just above the main plaza, its engines creating a low hum that vibrated through the ground. Xylar citizens peeked from windows and streets, their eyes wide with curiosity and fear. No one had ever seen beings like this before, tall, strong, and fully armored, yet carrying no obvious weapons. Lieutenant Kara Devlin stepped carefully from the shuttle. Behind her, Ensign Rico Tanaka adjusted sensors and monitors, ready to respond to any danger. Humans had faced hostile species before, but first contact with an unknown civilization was always a delicate balance. One wrong move and diplomacy could collapse in seconds. A group of Xylar leaders approached cautiously. Their skin shimmered like liquid glass in the sunlight, and their eyes reflected a quiet intelligence. Each step was deliberate, cautious, as if the humans might strike at any moment. Kara raised her hands in a universal gesture of peace. "We come in peace," she said slowly, allowing the translator to convey the words in the Xylar language. "We received your distress signal. We are here to help." The Xylar leader hesitated, looking at her companions. "Your presence is unexpected. We did not call for these giants, our signal. It was meant for a different civilization." "They are closer, smaller, safer," Kara nodded. "We understand. But help is help. If you accept it, we can work together to save your planet." The leader's eyes flickered with a mixture of doubt and hope. "Many of our people are afraid. The object approaches quickly. Can you truly stop it?" Elias Mercer's voice echoed from the shuttle's communication system. "Lieutenant Devlin, you have the authority to make first contact. But remind them, humanity never backs down when life is at risk." The Xylar leader studied Kara for a long moment. Then, "You must see the problem. Come, quickly." They led the humans through winding streets and over glowing bridges to a high observation platform overlooking the horizon. There, the asteroid was visible, a massive gray and black shape cutting across the sky. Even from a distance, it was terrifying. Its irregular surface reflected sunlight like a jagged mirror, and smaller fragments trailed behind it like sparks from a fire. The Xylar engineer beside them spoke rapidly, their voice trembling. "We have tried every method. Energy beams, magnetic pulses. Nothing can change its path. If it strikes, the cities will be destroyed. Millions dead." Kara and Rico exchanged a glance. Humans had faced impossible odds before. Asteroids, superstorms, rogue black holes, but seeing one so close, and knowing an entire civilization depended on them, sharpened their resolve. "We can help," Kara said firmly. "We will need your knowledge of the planet, its atmosphere, its magnetic fields, and its technology. Then we can combine our resources. Together we'll find a solution." The Xylar leaders looked uncertain. They had never collaborated with outsiders before, especially being so powerful, but hope sparked in their hearts. If these humans were as determined as they appeared, maybe survival was possible. Back in orbit, Captain Mercer had already issued orders. "All ships prepare planetary operations. Launch deflection drones and stabilization modules. Keep shields ready." This isn't a small task, but humanity can rise to it. Let's show them what we're capable of. Human engineers worked quickly, their hands flying over controls. They analyzed the asteroid's trajectory, calculated impact points, and devised a plan that combined deflection with strategic fragmentation. Xylar scientists provided crucial input: knowledge of local gravitational anomalies, mineral density, and atmospheric variations that humans could not measure from orbit. The first major hurdle appeared within minutes. Small fragments of the asteroid began to break off, moving unpredictably toward the planet's surface. The human fleet shifted positions, using energy shields to guide the debris away from cities. The Xylar watched in awe as massive ships coordinated in perfect formation, diverting dangerous fragments with precision. A Xylar child, hiding behind a tower, whispered to her sibling, They are like the heroes from the stories our elders told. Giants that protect the weak." Kara felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. "We have to be careful," she said. "Any mistake could make this worse." They began deploying small shuttles carrying deflection devices. Each shuttle was a combination of human engineering and Xylar technology, merging energy manipulation with planetary stabilization modules. The plan was ambitious, but it had to work. There was no room for error. As the asteroid drew closer, tension grew. The Xylar who had been skeptical began to take cautious hope in humanity's capability. "Perhaps these giants truly understand what life is worth," one whispered. Despite the fear, small moments of connection appeared. A Xylar scientist showed Kara a network of energy nodes across the planet's surface, explaining how they could amplify the deflection modules. Rico marveled at their ingenuity. Though primitive compared to human technology, it was elegant, clever, and perfectly suited for their world. Even as the humans coordinated the operation, the Xylar people began to take action on their own. Evacuation zones were prepared, emergency shelters activated, and transportation systems adjusted to move citizens quickly. Humanity's presence inspired them. Not fear, but courage. Hours passed, and the asteroid crept ever closer. From orbit it appeared immense, a gray mountain moving at impossible speed. Yet on the surface, Kara and the Xylar worked tirelessly, placing deflection modules and monitoring energy flows. Every adjustment, every calculation mattered. At one point, a massive fragment broke off and veered toward a populated area. Kara's shuttle raced to intercept, its energy beam deflecting the fragment safely into the ocean. The Xylar gasped, both in fear and admiration. "You saved them," the leader said. "We did not know you could do this." Kara smiled, though her mind was still focused on the task. "This is only the beginning. We need to stay focused. Your planet depends on all of us." Meanwhile, back in orbit, Captain Mercer coordinated the fleet. Every ship contributed energy, stabilization, and intelligence. Humans had faced impossible challenges before, but this was different. It was not just survival. It was partnership with a species entirely new to them. The first contact had gone better than anyone could have hoped. There had been no misunderstanding, no violence. Just trust, tentative and fragile, but growing. The Xylar began to see humanity not as invaders, but as saviors. As the sun set on the Xylar world, casting long shadows and golden light across glowing towers, Kara looked up at the approaching asteroid. Its surface reflected the last rays of sunlight, jagged and menacing. But she did not feel fear. She felt determination. The humans had answered a call for help. They had come across the stars when no one else had. And now, working side by side with the Xylar, they were preparing to face a challenge that seemed impossible. But as always, humans refused to back down. A young Xylar boy watched the humans from a distance, They are not like us, he whispered. They fight for others. Even when it is dangerous, perhaps. They are the true heroes of the stars. Kara felt a strange warmth at the thought. Humans were not invincible. They could make mistakes, they could fail, but their courage, ingenuity, and determination always set them apart. Today, those traits would save lives. The asteroid loomed closer. Its shadow fell across the city like a dark curtain, and yet hope burned brighter than fear. Humans and Xylar, united by necessity and courage, were preparing for the fight of their lives. And in that moment, Kara knew one thing for certain. Humanity had answered the call, and they would not leave until every life that could be saved was saved. The first contact had been made. The second, the real test, was just beginning. The asteroid hung ominously in the sky, a jagged shadow moving ever closer to the Xylar world. From orbit, the human fleet shimmered like a web of light and energy, positioning massive ships in a precise formation. The air on the human shuttles buzzed with tension. Every crew member knew the stakes. Millions of lives depended on their skill, their courage, and their ability to adapt. Captain Elias Mercer stood on the bridge of Valor's Dawn, his hands clasped behind his back. All ships maintain position. Deploy deflection drones in 3, 2, 1. Below, Lieutenant Kara Devlin coordinated with Xylar engineers, their voices translating back and forth through the universal translator. Together, they marked strategic points on the planet's surface where energy modules could be anchored. These modules, when activated, would create a magnetic and gravitational pull to influence the asteroid's trajectory. Riko Tanaka adjusted the calculations on his tablet. Captain, the asteroid's path is more unstable than predicted. Fragments are breaking off faster, and the planet's magnetic fields are stronger than our initial readings suggested. Elias nodded. We expected challenges. Keep your teams focused. Humans can solve problems no one else can. On the planet, Xylar citizens watched from safe zones, holding their families close. Children whispered among themselves, amazed at the giant beings who had come to save them. Even the skeptical Xylar leaders could not hide their awe. This is unlike anything we imagined, said one of them. They are not just helping, they are leading us. They are heroes. Kara's team moved carefully across the landscape, anchoring deflection modules and connecting them to power nodes. The Xylar engineers assisted, guiding the humans through the intricate layouts of energy conduits embedded in the planet's crust. Despite differences in physiology and technology, the two species worked seamlessly. Hours passed and the first major deflection attempt began. Human drones lifted into the atmosphere, their energy beams stretching toward the asteroid. The Xylar provided real-time data on the planet's magnetic interference, allowing the humans to adjust the drone's positions. The asteroid shifted slightly, but not enough. Its immense mass resisted all attempts to divert it. Kara adjusted the energy nodes, rerouting power from nearby modules. The ground beneath her hummed as the energy flowed through the planet's crust, creating a subtle, pulsing vibration. Keep going, Elias's voice echoed through the communicator. We've done harder things than this. Humanity doesn't back down. A small fragment broke off from the asteroid heading toward a nearby city. Riko piloted a shuttle, firing a precision beam that guided the fragment harmlessly into the ocean. The Xylar gasped, watching the humans act with speed and confidence. It is incredible, one Xylar whispered. They can control even the smallest danger, but the asteroid was relentless. Larger fragments continued to break away, and some were too massive to be handled by single drones. The humans adapted quickly. Captain Mercer ordered several of the fleet's largest ships to coordinate a concentrated energy push. Their beams intersected in space, creating a massive field designed to shift the asteroid's trajectory. Below, Kara's team synchronized the planetary modules with the orbital energy. The plan was risky. Any miscalculation could send the asteroid fragments careening toward the cities instead of away from them. But humans thrived on challenges like this. As the modules activated, the asteroid shuddered in its path. Small cracks appeared along its surface. Fragments fell away, harmlessly burning in the atmosphere. Xylar citizens cheered from shelters, their voices mixing with the low hum of human energy shields and drones. It is working, the Xylar engineer shouted, eyes wide with amazement. You may save us! But the relief was temporary. The asteroid, while partially deflected, had split into multiple large pieces, each moving in slightly different directions. The humans had anticipated fragmentation, but the timing required perfect coordination. Kara signaled to the fleet. All ships adjust positions. Focus on the largest fragments first. Planetary modules, double power. We can do this. The humans and Xylar worked tirelessly. Each adjustment required precision, communication, and trust. The Xylar began to admire the humans' ingenuity, not just their technology, but their ability to remain calm under pressure, to make decisions quickly, and to adapt when plans changed. One of the Xylar leaders approached Kara. Your people, they are remarkable. They face impossible danger and do not falter. How can they be so strong? Kara smiled softly. We've learned that strength isn't just about power. It's about courage, teamwork, and not giving up when things seem hopeless. Meanwhile, the largest asteroid fragment, nearly the size of a mountain, moved closer to a densely populated region. Captain Mercer ordered a risky maneuver. The fleet's energy beams would converge at a precise angle to nudge the fragment slightly, buying time for Kara's team to stabilize the energy nodes. The operation began. The fleet's beams intersected, creating a massive corridor of energy. The asteroid fragment shifted, but suddenly a portion of it fractured violently, sending shards toward the planet's surface. Shards incoming, Rico shouted. We need intercept drones now. Drones launched from shuttles, and Kara's team rerouted energy from nearby nodes to create temporary shields. The fragments burned harmlessly in the atmosphere, falling into oceans or uninhabited plains. Xylar citizens clapped and cheered, some in disbelief. Even as the danger continued, small bonds were forming. Xylar children laughed as they watched humans pilot shuttles with precision. Xylar engineers shared nods and gestures with human technicians, marveling at the combination of creativity and courage. Humanity, the Xylar realized, was different. Hours stretched into tension-filled moments. Fatigue began to show, but the humans did not stop. Every adjustment, every calculation was done with care. The asteroid continued to approach, but the humans' determination never wavered. Finally, a breakthrough. Kara coordinated a precise alignment of the planetary modules with the fleet's energy fields. The asteroid's trajectory shifted, sending it safely past the populated regions. Shards still fell, but they were minor, causing no damage. The Xylar erupted in relief. It is done. We are safe. Kara allowed herself a small smile. Not yet completely. The asteroid is still out there. But we've stopped the immediate danger. Now we can focus on final stabilization. Captain Mercer's voice came over the communicator. Excellent work, everyone. This is exactly what humans do. We face the impossible, adapt, and find a solution. Keep going. We're not done until the last fragment is safe. As the day ended on the Xylar world, the twin suns set, casting golden light across the planet. Humans and Xylar alike paused to watch the asteroid in the distance, now slowly moving away from danger. There was still work to do, but hope had returned. The Xylar leaders approached Kara. Your people, you risk everything for us. We do not have words, Kara shook her head. No thanks needed. Humanity doesn't help for praise. We help because it is right. Today your world had a chance, and we answered. The Xylar leader nodded, eyes shining. Then we will remember this day. Your people, they are unlike any we have known. Heroes of the stars. Even as fatigue set in, Kara knew the mission was far from over. The asteroid was diverted, but final adjustments were required. The humans had demonstrated ingenuity, courage, and resilience. The Xylar had learned the same lesson the galaxy would soon learn. When humanity answered a call, nothing was impossible, and somewhere in the sky, the fractured asteroid glinted in the sunlight, a reminder of danger narrowly avoided, and of the courage of two species working together against impossible odds. The first stage of the rescue was complete, but the story was far from over. Humans and Xylar would face more challenges as the asteroid moved closer to the planet's final position. But one truth had become clear. When humans worked together and when they combined courage with ingenuity, no threat was too great, no challenge too impossible. Humanity had arrived. And the stars and the Xylar would never forget it. The fractured asteroid moved ever closer to the Xylar world, its massive shards casting long shadows over the glowing towers. Despite the success of the initial deflection, the threat was far from over. Each fragment carried the potential to destroy cities, and the humans and Xylar knew time was slipping away. On the bridge of Valor's Dawn, Captain Elias Mercer studied the projections of the asteroid's trajectory. "Status report," he ordered, voice steady but tense. Lieutenant Kara Devlin responded quickly from her shuttle, her eyes fixed on the screens. "The fragments are moving unpredictably. Some are slowing slightly, but larger pieces still pose a serious threat. Planetary modules are stable, but we may need to adjust energy flow rapidly." Elias nodded. "Do it. Everyone prepare for rapid response. This is where humans excel, thinking fast and acting faster." Across the planet's surface, Xylar engineers worked alongside human technicians, rerouting energy and reinforcing the modules. Children and families watched from safe zones, hearts pounding as they saw the massive asteroid fragments slowly approach. "This is unlike anything we imagined," one Xylar whispered to a colleague. "Their courage, it does not waver. Even in the face of doom, they do not falter." Kara piloted her shuttle toward the largest fragment, which had split dangerously close to a populated region. Sensors indicated that its mass was too great for a single deflection beam. She called for backup. "Shuttle teams Alpha, Beta, and Gamma," she instructed. "Synchronize energy fields. Focus on fragment Delta. We need it diverted now." The shuttles rose together, a formation of human technology slicing through the sky with precision. Energy beams intersected, pushing the massive rock slightly off course. But a violent fracture suddenly sent shards scattering in unpredictable directions. "Shards incoming," Rico shouted, guiding small drones to intercept. Some fragments burned harmlessly in the atmosphere, while others crashed into uninhabited plains. The Xylar gasped. They risk everything for us. How can they be so fearless?" Kara adjusted her controls, sweat on her brow. "It's not about fear. It's about responsibility. We can't fail, not when lives depend on us." Above, in orbit, the human fleet coordinated massive energy beams to stabilize the asteroid's fragments. Ships adjusted positions continuously, their shields glowing brighter as they absorbed stray debris energy. The sight was breathtaking. A coordinated dance of technology, strategy, and sheer human willpower. Suddenly, a larger fragment broke free and began falling toward the planet's energy grid. If it struck, it could destroy the planetary modules and undo all their progress. "Captain," Kara's voice echoed. "Fragment Echo is heading for the modules. If it hits, we lose the entire stabilization network." Elias gritted his teeth. "All ships, emergency intercept. Divert all available energy. Humans don't leave anyone behind." The fleet responded instantly. Massive energy beams converged, creating a glowing barrier in the sky. The asteroid fragment struck it, scattering harmlessly into smaller pieces. The impact shook Kara's shuttle, but systems held. The Xylar watching from below cheered, awe and relief mixing in their voices. They save us again. How can beings like this exist?" Even as fragments continued to fall, the humans adapted with relentless determination. Captain Mercer issued orders for planetary modules to increase output, shuttles to intercept smaller debris, and orbital ships to provide precision energy control. Every action was carefully coordinated yet flexible, because in space no plan survives first contact with chaos. On the ground, Kara noticed a Xylar engineer struggling with a module. Its connections had loosened due to the asteroid's gravitational pull. Without hesitation, she jumped out of her shuttle and helped stabilize it. "Thank you," the Xylar said, eyes wide with amazement. You risk yourself for us?" Kara shook her head. "This isn't about us. It's about everyone who lives here. We protect when we can. That's humanity." As the hours passed, the humans and Xylar worked tirelessly. Fragment by fragment, the asteroid's path was altered, but the largest piece remained, a monstrous shard nearly the size of a mountain. Its trajectory threatened the planet's largest city. Elias studied the data. "We can't rely on planetary modules alone. We need a combined operation. Orbital energy, planetary modules, and direct shuttle impact. We'll push it together or it could hit the city." Kara's team piloted shuttles into position, carrying energy amplifiers designed to deliver a concentrated force at the exact point of the asteroid. Xylar engineers adjusted power flow from the surface, synchronizing with the fleet. The operation required perfect timing. "Now," Elias ordered. Energy surged from the ships, the modules, and the shuttle simultaneously. The asteroid fragment shuddered, cracks spreading across its surface. It began to rotate, its path slowly bending away from the city. Small fragments fell harmlessly into oceans while larger shards were pushed further along a safe trajectory. The Xylar cheered, tears in their eyes. They have saved our people. They are heroes beyond our imagination. Kara exhaled deeply, feeling the weight of exhaustion. We're not finished yet, she reminded her team. We need to make sure the rest of the fragments are stable. One mistake and all our work is wasted. Even as fatigue set in, the humans' determination never wavered. The Xylar began to participate more actively, assisting in monitoring energy flows and adjusting module positions. It was the first time they had seen their technology applied in ways they could never have imagined. A small Xylar child approached Kara, holding a glowing crystal. You saved us, he whispered. I want to be like you one day. Kara smiled, placing a hand gently on the child's shoulder. Courage comes from helping others, no matter the danger. You can do that too when the time comes. The asteroid's final fragments began to stabilize. The massive piece that had threatened the city slowly moved into a safe trajectory, guided by the combined efforts of humans and Xylar. Orbital ships adjusted energy fields, shuttles maintained precision control, and planetary modules reinforced their gravitational influence. Captain Mercer watched the final projections. Status? He asked. Lieutenant Devlin responded, voice steady but tired. All major fragments diverted. Minor debris will burn harmlessly in the atmosphere. The city and all major population zones are safe. A cheer erupted across the Xylar surface. Citizens ran through the streets, embracing friends and family. The threat that had loomed like a shadow for so long was finally gone. The Xylar leader approached Kara and Rico, bowing respectfully. Your people. You are more than heroes. You are guardians. You risk everything for strangers. We owe you our lives, Kara shook her head. We didn't do it for thanks. Humanity answers the call for help because it is right. Today we all work together to save lives. That's what matters. Elias Mercer spoke over the communicator, a rare smile on his face. Humans have once again risen to the challenge. The impossible became possible. We protect life no matter how distant or unknown. That is who we are. Even as celebrations began on the surface, the humans prepared for departure. There was still work to do. Final checks, system recalibrations, and ensuring the planet's energy grids were stable. But for the first time in hours, there was hope. The Xylar people watched the humans with admiration. They had expected help from someone close, someone like them. Instead, they had received humans brave, ingenious, and unyielding. A Xylar child turned to his friend. They are not like anyone else. They are different. Strong, fearless, and kind, maybe all humans are like this. Kara looked at the setting suns, the shining towers, and the grateful faces of the Xylar. Despite exhaustion, she felt a deep sense of pride. Humanity had answered a call that no one else would have, faced impossible odds, and succeeded. And somewhere in the shadows of the approaching night, the fractured asteroid now moved harmlessly away, a reminder of the danger narrowly avoided, and of the courage that had prevented disaster. The humans had done more than save a planet. They had shown the Xylar the meaning of hope, courage, and the indomitable spirit of a species that rises to every challenge. As the fleet prepared to leave orbit, Captain Mercer's final words echoed across the human shuttles. We may leave this world, but we leave behind proof that when humanity answers a call, no challenge is too great. Let this be remembered, not just by the Xylar, but by all who look to the stars. The night sky over the Xylar world shimmered with stars, the asteroid's shadow gone, the towers glowing softly. Humans had come, humans had acted, and humans had proven that their courage could shine brighter than any danger.